Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 29 of License to Carranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Gekisou Sentai Carranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show and we share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J. With me as always is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Drank a little wine before this podcast started, which is a little bit strange for me. Don't get too excited. This was not interesting wine. This was just there was just some wine in my fridge. I was like, I'm gonna have a little wine. And here I am.
Right on. Well, welcome. Welcome. Are you enjoying this unseasonably warm day?
Actually, I'm kind of good. I thought we were into cool weather now, and it was almost 90 degrees today.
And yesterday.
And I was not.
Did not do a lot of going out this weekend myself.
Yeah, I was not prepared for it. So, I mean, listen, it was a beautiful day. Don't get me wrong. And I will rue the day that I was hot weather. But, yeah, in the moment, I was sort of looking forward to being a little bit cooler.
But you know what's very cool, Dave? Episode 29 of Gekisou Sentai Carranger. It is called The Unexpected Great Monster Accident. It was written by Yoshio Urasawa. It was originally aired on September 13th, 1996. I'm looking forward to talking about it, Dave, but before that, of course, as always, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. What is our first star of the week?
So, our first star of the week is that Beth has taken the kids down to visit her family in Texas.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, it is. It's the circumstances are a little bit weird, and she went down very suddenly. Everything's fine. Don't worry. But yeah, she's going down to visit her family, and I am here.
Obviously,
which is,
I mean, if you weren't,
obviously,
we wouldn't be doing. I guess we could still do the show, but you would be in an airplane right now, and that would be tricky.
Yeah, that would be hard. I don't know how everybody else on a Boeing 747 would feel about listening to one half of a podcast.
No, you get the first half for free. That's how you get them hooked, and then they come back and they listen to the full episode.
Yeah.
Which I guess is also free. So this is a bad business model, Dave.
This is. We're not going to have a great first quarter,
especially if you had to buy the plane ticket to do it. We are hemorrhaging money.
Listen, as far as I can tell, that's how business works. You have an idea, and then you lose several $1 billion, and then you're rich, but your company folds. That's pretty much I saw something in the news the other week that Uber lost multiple billions of dollars.
I am pretty sure we have talked about that on this show before.
Okay, then I won't again. It's just insane to me.
So anyways, I remember because I think I made the observation before that every tech startup is just the plot of The Producers.
If you didn't make that joke, Matt, you got double duty out of that joke, because if I probably laughed at it before and I forgot about it and I laughed at it again, because it's a very good joke. So that's how you do comedy, guys, is when someone has a good joke, you say the words, that was a good joke. So in case anybody missed it, they can go back.
And then later in another couple of months, I'm going to bring it back up again. And that's not me being repetitive. That's the rule of 3. So that's how comedy.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So anyway, I'm living that bachelor life, #that bachelor life. And it's really weird. It was weird. So this is the first time I've done this in any sort of extended way, I think, since we've had the twins.
Now, when you say in any extended way, we should be clear. You dropped them off at the airport 3 hours ago.
Oh, yeah. But they're not getting back until Thursday.
Right. I'm just saying, if you are feeling weird about it now, buckle up.
Yeah, well, okay. So, they've been gone for 1 or 2 days before. But it was a while ago that was the case. And here's the analogy. And if this doesn't work for you, sorry. I know it'll work for you, Matt. Although it'll be a little bit weird for you. Because here's the analogy. When you finish college, I know, Matt, when you finished college, you went directly into like an additional structured activity.
Yes.
But like, you know, your whole high school career, you know exactly what to do, right? Like someone tells you where to go and what to do, and you sort of become institutionalized, and then you go to college and you're like, well, I will do that thing.
Right, it's modified, but it's basically the same kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have more freedom, but there's still, like, a structure. And you don't have to, like, you know, you're not, like, buying your own groceries or whatever. Probably. Like, maybe you live on campus. But the point is that, like, there's this very firm structure. And then you get out of college, and just all of a sudden, there's no one telling you what to do anymore. Like, you want to go get a job or whatever, and, like, your boss will tell you things to do at your job. But, like, outside of that, like, you're just kind of alive. And that's very much what this feels like. Like, I spent so much time, like, scrambling after the twins and, like, getting everything for their lives sorted out that all of a sudden, like, they're not here and I'm just not... Like, I have a list of things to do, but, like, I don't know how to go about doing them. It's a very bizarre experience.
Right, because now there's nothing in the way of you doing them. You can just decide at any moment, well, it is time to accomplish this task.
Right, but, like, my whole... and, like, it's not that I'm bad at getting things done, but, like, my whole modus is built around, like, you do something productive for, like, 20 minutes, and then a child is screaming, and you have to go deal with that. And then you have to, like, that's going to take a while, and maybe you have to, like, read a story and, like, comfort a child. And then you can, like, get back to whatever it was you were trying to do before, like, the cycle repeats, like, ad nauseum, right? And so, and, like, you know, you get the kids down for bed, and then you have, like, a precious few minutes where they're asleep, and you also do not have to be asleep. But now it's all those minutes, and I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, there was just a new update in Fallout 76, so, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that. Here's the thing. I got a new debit card.
Okay.
Which is fine. Like, my one broke. And when you get a new debit card... You know, like, the number stays the same, but, like, your CV, whatever, changes.
Yeah, there's always, like, a month and a half of you having to, like, go back into everything to reset all of your payments.
Well, Microsoft Gold was like, oh, hey, we couldn't renew your payment, but it coincided with the end of summer. And I was like, cool, this is a problem that has solved itself because I wanted to cancel Xbox Live anyways.
Okay.
Well, like... Which normally you would just be like, oh yeah, just cancel Xbox Live. Have you ever tried to cancel Xbox Live, Matt?
No, I have not.
It's like I know we use the phrase, and I'm like drastically overstating this. It very much is like a dealer's like, oh, the first one's free. Like, it's very easy to get into. You can just like turn your Xbox on and be like, I would like Xbox Live. To cancel Xbox Live is like a 45-step, like, triple verification process.
Oh, I'm sure it's like canceling a gym membership.
Yeah, it's a gigantic pain.
Have you ever canceled a gym membership?
I have not.
Okay.
Beth did one time, and it took, I kid you not, I think a calendar year.
I used to have a membership to the Planet Fitness. It was like $10 a month, right?
Yeah.
When I decided that I was not getting enough use out of it, and I decided to cancel my membership, signing up, as you say, you just like go online and click 3 buttons, and all of this, and now you remember. To cancel it, you need to either go into the building and like in person say like, I am now canceling this, or you need to write them a physical letter and put it in a mailbox.
What?
Yeah. There is no way online or over the phone to cancel your membership to Planet Fitness.
Okay, well, Microsoft is slightly better than that, but it is this, like, huge process. So I was like, well, like, neat. Like, this, I don't have to deal with this. Like, my credit card has expired, and all that happens is, like, once a month you send me an email that, like, we couldn't renew the thing. But if I were to get it back for just these few days, I would have to give them my new information.
And then you could never cancel again?
And then I would have to go through the process of canceling, and I just don't know if it's worth it.
So now you can just never play this game again.
And, well, maybe till, like, next summer, and I'll have, like, gathered the psychic energy that I need to deal with this whole process again. So anyways, Matt, that's my free and easy lifestyle. What is our second star of the week?
Dave, second star of the week, I got a commute update.
Commute update. Okay, rad. It's been a minute. I was actually just talking about commutes and how terrible they are.
Yeah, they're not good.
So,
I mean, you walk to work, so that's nice, but...
Yeah.
I drive... So you walk to work, which means you probably... And you live in a part of town that is not, like, super highway-focused, we shall say?
Yes. It is actively and vehemently opposed to highways, or at least it was when highways were being built, and now even if we changed our mind, it's too late.
Yeah, there's really no way to put one in there. Anyway, I drive on several highways every day to get to and from work. The route that I take, I have to, like, make a couple of exchanges. And, Dave, I don't know how much time you spent on the highway. You were driving out to the airport today, so you might have seen this billboard once or twice or 7 times.
Wait, stop. Are you about to talk about Misney?
I'm about to talk about Misney.
Holy cats! Okay.
This guy.
I don't mean to steal your thunder. You talk.
Yeah, it is a local, like, personal injury lawyer. Like a TV lawyer. Like I'm sure he's a real lawyer, but he's the sort of lawyer that has, like, TV commercials and, like, tries to get you to hire him if you've been in an accident or, like, some sort of, like, medical malpractice thing. He has apparently spent... I've never seen a physical, like, advertisement for this guy before. So
I have never heard of this dude before, like, 2 months ago.
So I'm going to assume that he has been saving up an entire lifetime of advertising budget and has decided to blow it all on a series of identical billboards all over the city. Dave, when I drive to work, there's just this big...
Oh, dude, you do not have to get on the highway. This dude is on bus stops. He is on, like, city street billboards, like, as you head down Carnegie. Like, this dude is everywhere. He's in this podcast, even.
Right. There is a spot on my commute where I can see... on the same side of the road. It's not like I'm on, like, a weird angle and I'm seeing the billboard from, like, 2 different highways at once. I can see 2 of the same billboard on the same stretch in the same sight line. They're like 3 billboards away from each other.
Dude, I have no idea how many millions of dollars this dude has dropped.
Like 1/3 of all advertising space in the city of Cleveland, and, like, he's not doing anything, like, special. He's just, like, it's not as though he is all of a sudden a personal injury lawyer. He's been around for ages. Just all of a sudden, now he is everywhere. And the thing is, the billboards have a picture of him pointing sternly at the camera that is taking his picture. Like, just, like, finger coming at you, like, seemingly, like, popping out of the billboard. And he's got, like, a very exaggerated, like, stern lawyer face. And it just says, Misney makes them pay. It doesn't give you his email address. It doesn't give you his website. It doesn't give you his phone number. It doesn't give you his first name. It just says Misney makes them pay, and then he bought 1,000 of them, and it's madness.
Dude, it's bizarre. It's as though we're existing in a video game, and they just decided that they only wanted to do art for, like, 4 billboards.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's like you're playing, like, original Grand Theft Auto 3, and they're like, listen, we're doing 3 billboards, one of them is Misney, one of them's a beer, and one of them's a radio station, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's buck wild.
That's all. I mean, that is such a weird thing in my commute, that's the commute update I'm bringing you, as opposed to the other commute update I almost brought you, which was the other day during rush hour on my drive home. I saw a regular car pulled over on the side of the highway, and a guy about 10 feet away from that car just digging a hole with a shovel. He was not wearing a vest. He was not like a city worker. He was just a guy who had pulled off on the side of the highway, just wearing like slacks and a polo, digging a hole with a shovel. 5:15 p.m.
Okay, listen, that dude knows something that you don't know, and it's important, whatever it was.
And it's also probably important that I don't know it.
Yeah, precisely. Thank you. I think we're just going to leave this man and his, like, weird energy and his highway hole alone. I don't want to touch that one.
Anyway, Dave, what is our third star of the week?
Third star of the week, man, is a fun new game.
I like fun games.
Yeah, people, like, this is not new. It is only new-ish to me, because I've only played it recently. The game is called Keyforge. Anyways, it's this cool new game, new-ish, and it's written by Richard Garfield, who is the dude who invented, he's like the guy. He created Magic the Gathering, and he created Netrunner. And he has created this new game, and it's called Keyforge, and I won't go into the details of the game.
Why would you?
Aside from this, Matt, here's why I think this game, because I know you have never really gotten into any of these games, here's why I think this game may appeal to you.
I was very into Overpower, but that was a long time ago.
Well, okay, that was a minute ago. I would really, this is totally separate from Keyforge, I would really like to go back and play Overpower like as it was intended to be played, because we introduced a whole lot of house rules, which in retrospect, like, obliterated the game.
Oh, it completely ruined it, yeah.
Yeah, anyways, here's the cool thing about Keyforge. There is 0 deck crafting.
Okay.
It does not exist. You get a deck, you can buy a bunch if you want, you get a deck, they are randomly generated, and you are not permitted, by the rules of the game, to alter them in any way.
Okay.
So, like, it is just about playing the game. There is 0 time spent like, oh man, if I combine, like, Dark Lord Thunder with Mega Air Conditioner.
So your trap card gets activated, Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's none of that. It's like, here's your deck. Like, you don't even necessarily need to look at the cards ahead of time, because it won't matter, because they're going to be shuffled anyways. Like,
so, okay, how varied are these decks? Are they, like... You know what I mean? Like,
dude, they're pretty varied. So, like, they're generated on some sort of algorithm. Mm-hmm. But the algorithm has, like, a fair amount of variance. And so basically there's 6 factions of cards, and your deck will be split pretty evenly between those. Like, out of the 6 factions, your deck will only include 3.
Uh-huh.
And the cards you have in that deck will be split, like, pretty evenly, if not exactly evenly, between those 3, like, factions. And, each faction has, like, I don't know, like 20 available cards, of which you will see, like, 6 to 8 in any given deck. Like, I'm kind of pulling these numbers out, but, like, there's a fair amount of variability. Yeah, so it's great. You just, like, hang out and play it, and then you are done. Like, there's no, like, extensive... listen, I have thoroughly enjoyed games where there's, like, a bunch of theory crafting at other points in my life, but, like, where I'm at right now, just, like, here's the thing, you learned, like, the 4 rules, you can play it, and then you can be done, and you never have to think about it again. Like, that's primo. That's primo gaming for me.
That does sound fun. I actually, speaking of, what was the guy's name again?
Richard Garfield.
I just backed a Kickstarter game that he was making with Ken Jennings of...
oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that around.
Yeah, the two of them, like, apparently have for a number of years been working on a, like a Trivial Pursuit, basically. Like a trivia board game thing. Like, Ken Jennings is really great at trivia, and Richard Garfield is really great at making games, and they just got together and made a trivia game.
Yeah, they've apparently been working on it for, like, ages.
Yeah, the campaign just ended, so I obviously have not played the game yet, but from what I saw, it looks very cool. Like, you You get asked the question from the card, and then on the card there are 6 potential answers, and like 3 of them are true. And you have to like bid on which ones are true, and you can like I haven't played the game. I'm not going to go into it because I'm just trying to repeat something that I saw on a video last week, which technically I guess is the premise of our podcast, but not necessarily those videos. Anyway,
so
forward
here
to it.
is here's a wild thing that will make total sense, but I also did not know. Richard Garfield apparently has a doctorate in computational mathematics.
I mean, I guess that makes sense if you're like a game designer.
Yeah, I was
going to
say like,
games.
Yeah, precisely. Like when I think about what he's done, it's like, yeah, that would be like a very good background to have. But I just didn't know it. So, anyways, Keyforge, it's neat. We should play it sometime.
Right on.
What, Matt, is our 4th star of the week?
Speaking of fun things to play, Dave, I got the remake of Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Oh man!
And Dave, it's very good. It's an extremely good game.
Dude.
For those of you who are not in your mid-30s or above, the Link's Awakening was a Legend of Zelda game that came out on the original Game Boy.
Holy cats, wow.
It came out like 1993, or maybe 94 in the States. So I was like 10 when I got it.
Oh man, that was a real good game.
I played it a lot and I loved it. And then at some point in my youth, I lost the cartridge. And I think the game was remade either later on the Game Boy or maybe on the Game Boy Advance. But I missed that when that happened. So
I think it was Game Boy Advance. Yeah.
So I have not played Link's Awakening probably since 95, 96, whenever it was that I would have lost that cartridge. And I genuinely thought I was never going to have the opportunity to play it again. So when this came up, even though it is like wildly expensive for a remake of a like 20-some-year-old Game Boy game.
Well, man, they say like, oh, it's a remake. That game is from scratch. They're not like reusing old code.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's the thing.
mean?
They've remade it from scratch and it's gorgeous. Like everything in the game looks like a little toy. Because the thing is that like to maintain when you played it on the Game Boy, the characters were small and the screen was small and everything was very compact. And so to maintain that, they kind of like... First of all, they use an art style that makes everything look like a little plastic toy, basically.
Oh, dig it.
Like not exactly, but it's all very like smooth and like shiny. It looks very nice. I recommend you look up a video of it. But they also like make it look as though the camera is super zoomed in on what is happening on the ground because like it gets unfocused around the edge of the screen. So it really gives you this impression of like you have these toys and you're playing in like you're just like playing with these toys in this toy box. It's really great.
Man, yeah, that sounds really, really excellent. Oh man, dude.
And plus, it's just like a really wonderful Zelda game.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just echoing you about like how great this game is, and I'm just sort of like remembering it like way back when. I'd love to take a look at it sometime.
Absolutely. That's honestly it for that star, but I've just been playing it a lot this weekend, and so that's the only new thing I had to talk about.
So what, Matt, is our 5th star of the week?
Dave, 5th star of the week is I have been watching some documentaries.
I love documentaries.
Me too, but I've been watching like... I don't want to say like small or weird or bad documentaries. The distinction that I want to make...
I mean, any one of those descriptors can be applied to documentaries. Like, that's fine.
Sure, but like the distinction that I want to make is that the documentary... Like, I'm not watching Planet Earth, right? Like, I'm not watching...
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I'm not watching this sort of like high-budget like Netflix documentaries. That is not what I'm getting into. I am watching like low-budget Amazon Prime documentaries.
Okay. You know what? They're...
Well, let me.
I don't want to say better, but like, and like a different vector, like totally as good.
Sure, because the thing is about a weird small documentary is that
it can be about something weird and small.
Yeah, it can be about something weird and small, and that no one is going to make that documentary without being really into the subject matter, you know?
Right. Well, and also, like, BBC Two is not going to devote, like, several hajillion dollars and the talents of Sir David Attenborough to a documentary about, like, Magic the Gathering. Like, they're just not.
Well, I did not watch one about Magic the Gathering. Here are the two that I watched.
I have. It's real interesting. Go ahead.
There's one that's called, I think it's called Eye of the Beholder, and it is about
beholders.
Well, it's about...
And their ecology. It actually is narrated by Sir David Attenborough.
No, it's about the art in old D&D manuals.
Oh, neat.
And it's really interesting. I thought it was going to be about, like, the art of D&D, like, throughout the years. It's got a little bit of that in the beginning and the end, but it's mostly all about the art in D&D manuals from, like, day one through, like, the end of the TSR days when Wizards of the Coast bought Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. So it's all that, like, you know, like Planescape and Dark Sun, but also, like, the weird, bad first edition art that looks like that looks like, and it looks like this because this is true, it was just drawn by a high schooler who knew Gary Gygax.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of that early D&D art is just like, you know, he wasn't even necessarily the best artist in the high school. He was just the best artist in the high school who was interested in doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, precisely.
And so going back and, like, and they'll have, like, and they have, like, interviews with those people now, and they're talking like, oh, yeah, like, I did this, and I got paid $20, and it was really fun, and we worked in an office that was, like, kind of collapsing. And then it goes into, like, that really great stretch of, like, second edition art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, it ruled. And it was just, like, a very nice, wholesome, like, nostalgic view of, like, early days of role-playing. And then the next one I watched was called World of Darkness, that was almost exclusively about Vampire the Masquerade. And that was also really great, but any degree of, like, wholesome nostalgia just got thrown 100% out the window.
Oh, yeah, Vampire is extremely horny.
Oh, yeah. It was like, I was like, oh, man, this was really fun. I wonder if we're going to
like
talk
all
about
of White House.
All the same sort of things we talked about in the other documentary. And immediately it just cuts to, like, this dirty
weird
club
goth
scene.
sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love White Wolf games, but, like, yeah, they are definitely not, like...
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like, I was hoping that it was going to be more of a full World of Darkness thing. It was basically only Vampire the Masquerade. It was, like, Vampire, the Vampire, like, Mind's Eye Theater LARP, and some talk about the video game that never ended up happening.
Yeah, you know, I think it's actually really interesting, because I feel like of all the stuff that White Wolf has put out, Vampire is actually sort of the least... To me, is, like, the least interesting and engaging, but is, like, 100% like their largest property.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Although I will probably never play it, but I would totally be interested in playing the, like, 15 years later sequel to Bloodlines.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That actually is apparently coming out, so who knows?
Right on. Anyway, we've been talking about this stuff for a very long time, Dave. You want to go talk about Carranger for a minute?
Yeah,
just before we wrap this stuff up. All right, welcome back. So, dude, you know I love a mid-season pivot.
Love the mid-season pivot. Also, we totally did not talk about this. Hey, guys, sorry we missed last week's episode. Man, it was a week. I don't want to get into the details. Like, everybody's fine. It was just a week, man.
I didn't bring it up because I'm not sorry.
It wasn't your stuff. It was my stuff. So anyways, I am sorry. We hate to miss a week, but you know, real life called. Anyways, these are the spots in Super Sentai that I live for. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I feel like, and we've talked about this before, but I have been thinking a lot about it more recently with Go Sentai Heroes and, like, the sort of overarching structure of Sentai. Like, the first few episodes are always killer. Like, episodes like 1 through 4 are always amazing. And then episodes like 5 through 20, they're fine. Like there will be some good stuff.
Sure, it's a mixed bag. Like you need to have some of those episodes, because if you don't, then there's nothing to pivot from.
Exactly. Like you have to set a pace so that you can then, like you have to write a script so that you can then flip it. But everybody's living for, like everybody's waiting for the flip to script or the bass to drop or like, yeah, precisely. That's actually, I think, a very good thing. Like you can't drop the bass in the first beat, but that's what you're there for. Like you're there for when the bass drops, but like you recognize that you have to have a little bit of a waiting game. But the bass has dropped. The bass done dropped, y'all.
Yeah. So
I'm pretty sure that's how they say it in EDM circles. Yeah. That's the bass done dropped,
Dave.
And then you
listen,
it.
Dave. We are experts on techno music. That's how I know that they still call it techno.
Yep. Yeah. So
we got all the hits.
I know.
I used to have a Paul Oakenfold album.
I was just going to say, I know 3 DJs. I know Paul Oakenfold, I know the guy who throws cake at people, and I know Skrillex. And I don't even like Skrillex. I just know who he is.
You don't know the name of the second guy.
Right. Aoki, Steve Aoki, I think is his name.
Man, could be. No reason why not.
Anyways, so we're at, this episode opens up, we're at Pegasus Motors. And Kyosuke is there, he's sweeping up, and he sort of stops, and he looks up into the sky, and he thinks about his frenemy Signal Man.
Yeah. Signal Man has left them, and he's gone up to that great sports festival in the sky. I mean, he's fine.
But it is
it's
in the
literally
sky.
In the sky. He went to space.
It's literally in the sky. He's on Planet Police. Police Planet? Planet Police. And we got a little, like, dreamy montage of him doing the 3-legged race with Signal Son, and Signal Wife comes and like gives him a big hug, and that's all very nice. So then we go and we see again, if you're watching along with us, which you should be, and you've just now been introduced to Dapu, again, sorry.
Yeah, we see a horrible goblin wearing a Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls jersey, and
he says, I'm so sleepy.
Extraordinarily sleepy. And he
just can't keep his eyes open.
He's trying to figure out what's happening. And suddenly, he has a flash of insight. He's like, oh my gosh, finally, I understand. But we don't get to find out what he understands, because the show hates us.
Now, we will return to this moment of inspiration later.
Right, but first we need to swing on up to Barbarian, where President Dynamo is talking to Instructor Richie Hiker, and he's like, "All right, you absorbed all the evil energy in the galaxy.
Like you got it all.
That's great. You're killing it.
You bogarted the evil energy.
You are on a roll. So now that you have all this great evil energy, what are we gonna do now? Like, what's your big plan?" You were our plan guy, and now you're more powerful, so what's your more powerful plan?
Yeah, so Instructor Richie Hiker is like, Who do you think you are? Like, I am now the evilest dude in the universe is the idea. And he sort of just, like, power flexes, and there's an earthquake, so that's neat.
And then he's like, dude, like, you should not talk to me in this fashion. And after that earthquake, we look out the window and we see an enormous monster hand.
Yep.
And that freaks everyone out. And then the enormous monster hand leaves, and like just the eyeball of an enormous monster head like goes to like look in the window, and Richie Hiker's like, "Oh yeah. No. Check this guy out. You do not get to talk to me that way anymore." Right.
So I'm not sure if it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like a braking, like brakes on a car pun, but he's braking, like King. So he's like the most powerful breaker. Maybe it's also like a breaking the Carrangers. I think this is a pun. This is wild. And I love when Sentai does this, which is a multi-layered pun that only works in English.
Right, but does not necessarily work if English is your first language. Like, it only works for people who kind of know English.
It occupies this, like, beautiful liminal space. I can't get enough of it. I would watch, like, an entire comedy hour composed of nothing but puns in this vein. So...
Dynamo is thrilled. He's like, oh my gosh, look at this.
Like, this is incredible.
Monster. You're like...
I'm in love with this giant thing. But how did you do it? Like, where did you get the money?
Right.
For this incredible robot.
Because if you will recall, when Richie Hiker was hired, he was hired because Dynamo thought that he was a really great deal. Like, he was a budget dude.
Yeah. And he says, oh, I found your secret account, your President Dynamo's secret account, where you have been basically embezzling money from the rest of the Bozoke to plan your extraordinarily extravagant wedding to Zanette, whom you would like to marry or start dating someday.
Right. When this conversation is happening, the idea that President Dynamo has been saving for his marriage to Lady Zanette is a huge surprise to Zanette.
Yeah, this is more of like a vision board kind of bank account that he's got going on.
Right.
It's like a hope chest, but with like a gajillion space bucks.
So what she does realize, though, even though she has no interest in getting married and had never been consulted on this, was that if that money was being saved for his wedding to her, then really, that was her money, and now she's mad that Richie Hiker took it.
Yeah, so Richie Hiker commands Zelmoda and Grotch to grab President Dynamo and Zanette. And I expected this from inventor Grotch, whom I hate.
Uh-huh.
But Zelmoda does, in fact, betray President Dynamo.
Well, I also didn't expect it, and neither did President Dynamo.
I was genuinely... Like, this was a moving moment. It really bummed me out that Zelmoda betrays President Dynamo. And we actually see the scene... Like, we see the 30 pieces of silver scene.
Because Dynamo calls him out on it. He's like, dude, like, what are you doing? We are friends.
Like, we have been bros forever. Like, we founded the Bozoke. And here's what it is, basically. Is Instructor Richie Hiker is, like, sitting across the table from Zelmoda and Inventor Grotch. And he says, what if I gave you, like, a lot of space bucks to betray Dynamo? And Inventor Grotch is basically like, yeah, I'm cool. And Zelmoda's like, no, never. And Instructor Richie Hiker says, what if I offered you, like, even more space bucks than that? And Zelmoda says, no. And then Instructor Richie Hiker says, like, what if I offered you, like, a truly absurd number of space bucks? And Zelmoda says, okay, now we're cooking with gas.
Right.
Like, let's do it. Let's betray my best friend.
That's a lot of bucks.
Yeah, so it's a huge bummer, but Instructor Richie Hiker does complete his takeover of the Bozoke. Because, and again, like, the rest of the Bozoke could totally make sense. Like, they're here to party, they're here to hang out at the Barbari Saloon, they are here to, like, blow planets up. President Dynamo is cool as long as he's being cool, and if Instructor Richie Hiker is cooler, then, like, that's the plan, man.
Richie Hiker tells everyone to cheer for him, and they all do that. In this moment, Dynamo, who I guess is no longer President Dynamo and is now just regular Dynamo, and Zanette, like, run away, hop in Zanette's car, and fly down to Earth.
Yes.
Although they are followed very quickly by Breaking, who is heading down to Earth.
Yeah, if you need... Breaking is basically Mechagodzilla.
Breaking is absolutely Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, he's Mechagodzilla, and he just sort of, like, breaststrokes through space towards Earth.
It's pretty great. He's a good design.
Yeah, so Zanette immediately crashes. Like, they end up on Earth, and they start driving, and then Zanette immediately crashes.
Yeah, well, Breaking sort of lands behind them, and she's freaked out and trying to get away. I don't think Breaking is really chasing them so much as he's just, like, on Earth causing a stink.
Yeah, at first it did seem like he was following them, but now he's just wrecking shop. So we go from there back to the headquarters, and Dapu, he's gathered the Rangers for an announcement, and he says, guys, I realize what has been causing, like, my intense sleepiness. And they say, oh, Dapu, our friend. There were quotes around that in my heart.
I heard them.
Our friend, yeah, whatever could be the cause of your trouble. And he says, well, I'll tell you, but first I would like to sing a song. And then he proceeds to do the worst thing that's ever been on television.
It's truly awful. Here's what it says in my notes. So I'm giving it to you straight as I was experiencing it.
Yeah, thank you. You should try to watch this part of it.
No, this is the part that you shouldn't watch. You should watch the rest of this episode.
But I mean, like, to get it,
Yeah.
I guess.
In my notes, I just have it saying, Dabu has realized why he's so tired, and because he hates me, he is going to sing the answer. But the thing is, he doesn't sing the answer. He says he is going to sing the answer, and he starts it on this song, and friends, it goes for a while. Maybe it was only 30 seconds, it felt like 5 minutes.
It did. It was extraordinarily long. So, like, the lyrics of the song... Matt, did you say you had them?
Oh, gosh. I tried. I got a few lines in, and I realized, like, I think the show is purposely making this not make sense, because I could not, like, cobble together any sort of, like, coherent thought.
Here's the really bizarre thing about Dapu, is that I feel like Yoshio Urasawa, as much as I love the work that he's doing with Carranger, like, cannot decide if Dapu is like a child sidekick or their mentor. Because he vacillates wildly and seemingly completely unpredictably between, like, those two poles.
Yeah.
Like, on one hand, he's like, I will train the Rangers and do all of those other things. But on the other hand, like, he eats too much ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of the space Dapu occupies. So anyways, they get an alert, thank goodness, which interrupts this song. So the Rangers just dip, but they'd never actually hear his news.
Yeah, so Dapu has figured out, but we and the Rangers are still completely in the dark.
So we still do not know what is going on. So the Rangers roll out. Instructor Richie Hiker is at a table on the water. I feel almost certain that we have seen these same tables in this same waterfront little area before.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put
I
the mortgage
think
on it, but it's very familiar.
I think maybe in Jetman, I think there was the episode with the fortune teller monster.
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
Anyway.
Maybe. I feel like we've seen it multiple times before. I feel like it showed up in Kaku Ranger at least once. Anyways, he says, I've been waiting for you. He says, my power has been upgraded. He just he does a little exposition for the Rangers, which is nice. I assume it's only for the Rangers because, of course, we've seen all the episodes.
Although, to be fair, sort of like, you and I are sitting down to watch the episodes every week. If you were a kid and you missed last week's episode...
Oh, yeah, good point. So anyways, he sort of exposits for a minute. And he just says, like, this is what we did. Like, I kicked President Dynamo out. I've kicked Zanet out. Which is kind of weird to me. It seems like he would have used this opportunity to, like, cement a position with Zanet, which is clearly what he's been shooting for. Maybe he's just more interested in evil now.
I feel like he was never that interested in that. I think that was something that he was, like, kind of pursuing because he was slacking off from his job, and she was, like, pretty and nearby. But, like, now that he's actually got some direction, like, he is much more interested in evil.
So anyways, he's like, Zanet is also out. And then Kyosuke is like, oh, Zanet? Like he doesn't say a whole lot, but there is a brief, like, is she okay sort of vibe emanating. There's an energy of concern there. So
we do immediately see a cutaway to Zanet and Dynamo just wandering down the street totally fine, trying to find stuff to do. So,
yeah, she's got an ice cream.
The viewers know that they're fine.
Yeah, everything is totally cool. And Instructor Richie Hiker basically just says, well, the Berserk are going to be a lot different now. A lot more effective. And we're starting right now. Whumper attack! And there's a great shot where they do some, like, reverse, Like they just reverse the film of Wumpers jumping into the water feet first, and it looks like the Wumpers just sort of fly up out of the water.
It's very good.
Which is great. Yeah. So then they fight for a second, and then Breaking appears.
Right. They just go straight from Wumpers to Giant Monster, and the Carrangers are not ready for it all. They call Giga Booster, which seems like a bad idea. Like, they probably should have gone a little harder than just bringing out their big gun, now that there is a giant monster here. But maybe they... Oh, that's what it is.
Listen, Matt.
They can't call RV Robo, right? Like, don't they need Dapu to do that?
I actually got a really big kick out of this bit, Matt, because since I've been working on these rules so much, now anytime I'm watching an episode, I'm always sort of like running the math, I guess, in my head.
Like trying to figure out how it would work in your game.
Yeah, precisely. So, like, this is, like, they tried to do their move, and they just, like, didn't have enough power, but, like, what else are you gonna do? Because... like, you're at -2 when you're trying to fight giants and you're not a giant. They're like, well, let's try it at least. It doesn't work. And then they try to call their giant robots. But they boof that roll, too, because...
Dapu's still sleeping.
The explanation would be... Dapu...
yeah, because Dapu...
their idiot mentor.
Like, I don't know if we mentioned this or how long it's been since we've mentioned this. But whenever they call for RV Robo, like... Dapu back at base is the one who says, like, okay, yes, send it out. And I guess if there's no one at base to hit the button, like, they can't get their cars.
Yeah, like, they don't summon them directly. They just call Dapu, who does it, and that dude's asleep. So like, they get a hold of him, and they're just like, hey, dude.
Well, no, they retreat. They get a hold of him by running away from the fight and going back to the garage.
And so they show up and they're like, hey, bud, what's up? Like, what's going on? And he says, oh, yeah, so here's the deal. He says this in a very
totally
sleepy
forgot
way.
to mention this, bros.
He says, forgot to mention this, forgot about it myself, frankly. We... Dapunians, like whatever his race
Hazardians.
is.
He's from
Hazardians,
the
that's right. Planet Hazard, yeah. He's like, we Hazardians, like, we need to hibernate or we die.
Don't know why this hadn't occurred to me before, but that's it. That's why I'm constantly asleep.
That's the insane part that I wanted to talk about. That, like, he needs to do this to live, apparently. And when he was getting sleepy, was like, Wonder what's going on with all that sleepiness. That's wild.
It's very wild. The one thing that kind of makes sense about it is, like, I think they talked about the seasons at some point, and I think that's what the reason it caught him by surprise is because, like, this is not the time of year when he would be hibernating, but the seasons are different on Earth than they were on the planet Hazard. So, like... I
mean, yeah, that is... I think that is the thing that makes the most sense.
He's jet-lagged, essentially. Like, he went to the wrong time zone, and he's really sleepy and can't figure out why. And he just realized, like, oh, I started today, like, 3 time zones away. That's why I'm tired at 8 p.m.
Yeah. So they're like, well, okay, what are we going to do? Like, are we just going to call Signal Man back? And then I feel like Kyosuke has his first, like, really big leader moment. He's just like, no, like, we are the Carrangers. We do not need to call Signal Man. Like, Dapu's out for the count. Signal Man is out. Like, it's down to us, but we are going to do this. Like, call RV Robo. This is happening. Boom. It's very, very good.
It's extremely good.
Yeah, it is ultimately pointless.
A huge
because
failure.
Here's what happens. Yeah, they call RV Robo, and they're just like, get dunked! RV Gekisou cut! And then they spin around, and then Breaking just catches their sword and snaps it in half.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so RV Robo goes down. Instructor Richie Iker just calls a bunch of Wumpers who straight up, like, snow speeder RV Robo. And then they just, like, climb up and just punch through the glass.
Yeah, it's very good. We get this shot, like, what we're supposed to see is like an army of Wumpers like scaling, like, you know, like with grappling hooks scaling the side of RV Robo. Because RV Robo has been like grabbed by Breaking's tail and electrocuted, so all its systems have shorted out, so it can't like move right now. And so we see all of these Wumpers scaling up the side, but like it's not actually a giant robot, it's a guy in a cardboard box suit. And so what actually is happening is that they have just like, with a bunch of like fishing line and like action figures painted to look like Wumpers, like made it look like a bunch of little dudes are climbing him. It's extremely good.
It's super rad. So anyways, that's a game. Like the Rangers just have to run because they got like boarded.
Yeah.
So they abandon ship. We see a quick second of Dynamo and Zanette at a sushi joint, and then they're like walking out of a sushi joint, and then Zanette wants to go do karaoke. Which, listen, I just want to say, if Dynamo's ultimate goal is like spend some QT with Zanette, then like maybe being the president of the Bozok was the wrong way to go, because this seems to be working out very well for him.
Yeah. They do go to a karaoke bar. She sings for him, but does not manage to lighten his mood.
Yeah.
But it's a nice gesture.
And then we just see, we see the Rangers, and they're out on the water, just in their regular civvies.
Oh, did we mention that the Bozok captured RV Robo and took him back to Barabarian?
I did forget that. They definitely like steal that giant robot. And then they just kind of stand there looking pensive till the sun goes down.
Yeah, like they stand there for a long time because they're like, we don't have Dapu, Signal Man's gone, we don't have RV Robo. Like, what do we do? What are we still doing? Like, what can we actually do? We're still the Car Rangers, but does that matter if we don't have that stuff with us?
So then the lights go out. And a figure starts striding towards them. And they're just like, what's going on? Is it Signal Man? It's not Signal Man.
It's the Dark Signal Man.
It's like Dark Signal Man's like baller older brother or something. And he just rolls up and drops some like arcane wisdom on them.
They ask who he is. And he says, he comes up and says, like, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be out fighting for traffic safety. And they say, who are you? And he says, am I a friend? A foe? A lone wolf in the universe? I am VRV Master. And then he just, like, walks, like
towards them, but then kind of, like, fades away.
It's extremely good.
But he, like, gets into their midst. And that's it.
Yeah, it's like it really does feel like the gritty reboot of Signal Man.
Yeah, that's 100% what it feels like.
If you know all of these character models from watching Power Rangers Turbo, this is the Phantom Ranger.
Oh, okay.
And
I said that as though I knew who you were talking about, but like I don't.
The Phantom Ranger was super disappointing in Turbo because at some point they were supposed to reveal who he was, and then they didn't. And then that was just it.
Cool. Great television, everybody. Yeah. So anyways, that's... we actually don't have a monster for the Creature Royale this week.
Yeah, because Break King is still alive. So yeah, I guess that's... In lieu of that, Dave, do you have any like high point, low point stuff you want to talk about?
Normally I would, but I actually feel like we kind of covered most of it at the beginning of the show. Like, this is the big mid-season pivot. They're doing a great job of it.
Yeah, I
even within the context of Car Ranger being sort of like a goof season.
Yeah.
I feel like they are doing a very good job of making it still a very good season.
Well,
while at the same time, knocking some jokes.
And you know what I think is really great about like Signal Man left last episode. This episode, or maybe it was the episode before last, but Signal Man left, and then immediately, like, the dark, gritty reboot of Signal Man appears, and even though VRV Master does not seem himself to be a joke, like, the quickness with which they replaced Signal Man kind of feels like a joke, so you get him being cool, but you also get to enjoy them, like, poking fun at their own tropes.
Yeah, like I said, like it's really existing in like a very narrow band where this works and they're making it work.
Plus, he just looks cool. That's I always liked Signal Man, and Signal Man did kind of look cool, but he also looked kind of goofy.
Yeah, I was gonna say like VRV Master is definitely like a slimmed down, slicked up version of Signal Man.
All right, so I guess in that case, Dave, that is going to do it for another episode of License to Carranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you that you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. You want to get any updates on future episodes or check out what we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. If you are interested in getting a copy of the playtest of Go Sentai Hero, the game that Dave has been working on these many months, years? This many year at least. Dave, where can they get in contact with you to do that?
Yeah, if you just email me at gosentaiheroes@gmail.com, I will get back to you and get you the rules, and I'm really looking forward to hearing back from people.
Right on. As always, remember that if you do like the show, and we hope that you do, shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Please rate, subscribe, review on Apple Podcasts, or wherever it is that you find the show. We're available on a number of different vectors. That would be very kind of you. If you would like to listen to any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can do that all at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we're the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.